Hello, everybody. I'm back with another AFC Championship predictions slash preview video, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Tomorrow afternoon's game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs at M&T Bank Stadium. This, in my opinion, is the most anticipated game of the season. Nothing against the San Francisco 49ers and Detroit Lions game, but in my book, this is going to be the one that I would predict and or imagine garners the most views or a highest rating. But say what you will as far as that. We'll worry about that when the time comes. But I want to get down to the brass tacks here and give you my picks as far as who's going to win this game. So. That being said, let's take a look at things from the perspective of the home team, the Baltimore Ravens. Say what you want to about Lamar Jackson Jr. He's surging towards his second NFL MVP honors. It's pretty much unanimous at this point. Some people were even saying, why not just give it to him at the beginning of the season and call it a day? It doesn't work that way. You know it, I know it. Everybody and their mother who's watched the NFL for longer than 5 minutes knows it. But the way I see it, if you're looking at Lamar Jackson Jr., he still has something to prove, though. And he gets his best test against the Kansas City Chiefs tomorrow afternoon. I expect him to rise to the challenge and then some. Now, if you look at Kansas City, on the other hand, many people are believing that the Kansas City Chiefs are lucky to be back in the conference title game for the sixth straight postseason. They defeated two injury-riddled rosters in the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills, respectively. And they also benefited from a late missed field goal in the divisional round against Buffalo. But I don't think luck had anything to do with it. That's just me, though. But looking at the Baltimore Ravens, they've been one of the unluckiest franchises in recent years due to injury history. But they're finally looking strong, and they're finally back to being on the fast track of health after blowing out the Houston Texans last Saturday. But going back to Lamar Jackson Jr., though, he's going to win his second NFL MVP award, and whether anyone likes it or not, that puts him alongside some rather elite company. But despite this inevitable honor, though, some people just don't want to give the man the credit that he deserves. So I'm thinking when it comes to something like that, there's going to be a lot of people owing that man a huge apology, win, lose, or draw at the end of the season. But going back to the AFC Championship game, this is a perfect example of a figurative proving ground, so to say, especially with another multi-time MVP under center in the Kansas City Chiefs going up against him. Patrick Mahomes Jr., number 15. Which reminds me, I'm reminded of something that pro wrestling legend Rick the Nature Boy Flair said at one point in life. As you may know, I'm a pro wrestling fan, but many, many years ago he said, to be the man, you've got to beat the man. And from where I sit, Patrick Mahomes Jr. is the man, and I think outshining him, even though it's going to be a tall task. Number 8 is he's up to the challenge. He's been stepping up to that challenge all season, and I think now he's got the chance to prove it tomorrow afternoon. And for those of you who don't think that Lamar Jackson Jr. is a passing quarterback, consider that in the 7th circled games against postseason qualifiers, he completed almost 71 or 72% of his attempts for an average of more than 250 passing yards with 17 touchdown connections. Excuse me. Which is on average about 2.5 or 3 touchdown passes per game. So between 2 or 3 touchdown passes per game. That's a good stat to have. Lamar Jackson Jr. already has 26 total touchdown passes, and he's collected 13 of those scores over his last 5 games, including 2 touchdown throws in the blowout against the Houston Texans last Saturday. Now, when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs, though, you got to look at how they are in the red zone. A stout group, allowing the 10th lowest touchdown rate in the NFL. But they're going to be missing a couple of key pieces. They could be missing a couple of key pieces on Sunday if in the event or events they haven't been cleared yet. Willie Gay, I believe, is one of them at linebacker. Safety Mike Edwards and Derek Natty at defensive line, and ADI is his last name. I think it's either pronounced Natty or Natty, but anyway. If you look at the Chiefs' defense, speaking of which, they're dependent on disrupting rival quarterbacks, especially with the blitz-heavy schemes that Steve Spagnuolo has at his disposal. The Chiefs have the 5th highest blitz rate in the NFL. And conversely, Lamar Jackson Jr. has faced the 3rd lowest pressure rate and sits amongst the best quarterbacks in the NFL under duress, just behind number 15, speaking of which. But that being said, though, the Baltimore Ravens have risen to the occasion against the NFL's top teams all season, and they get the chance to not only defend their home field for a ticket to the Super Bowl, they also get to prove the doubters wrong by winning the AFC Championship, too. So, that being said, Lamar Jackson Jr., who, as I said before, he's clicking right now with 13 touchdown passes in his last 5 games, but I believe he's also going to have Mark Andrews back. I looked at something either yesterday or the day before. It said that he might be cleared to play in the game on Saturday. So if number 89 is ready to come back, then you talk about a key piece of the offense coming back for the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah, granted, you got Dalvin Cook, Gus Edwards, and Justice Hill at the helm, and you also got Odell Beckham Jr. and Charlie Kolar at the tight end spot. But with Mark Andrews coming back, you could pretty much say that the offense is as stout as ever. Especially with one of your key pieces coming back, the likes of him. But Mark Andrews, he had 8 touchdown catches before going down against the Bengals, I want to say. I believe it was against the Cincinnati Bengals. It was near the end of the regular season. He ended up going down against the Cincinnati Bengals. But he led the Baltimore Ravens in receiving touchdowns the last 2 seasons. And as we all know, he's Lamar Jackson Jr.'s top target, and he still adds a reliable red zone option for the Ravens starter. Especially when you consider that Lamar Jackson Jr. has been lighting up the scoreboard even without him in the lineup. That's dedication for you, at least from where I sit it is. Now, speaking of quarterbacks and tight ends, Patrick Mahomes Jr. is not going to go down without a fight. He's got Travis Kelce at his side, and they're both back on track to maybe get their groove back and find themselves in the Super Bowl for the 2nd year in a row. But much like Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes Jr. is trusting other receivers get the ball in their hands whenever he throws it to him, or if he even hands it off, like to Isaiah Pacheco, for example. I mean, you've got when you've got the likes of Marquez Valdez-Scantling at your side, you have another option you could throw the ball to. It's going to be a real sight to see, especially how when you look at the Ravens. You know, how are they going to work things on offense? How are they going to work on defense? And vice versa with the Kansas City Chiefs. Speaking of defenses, what I do know as far as with the Baltimore Ravens, the Baltimore Ravens defense is going to be the toughest test that the Chiefs have faced in a long while. Kansas City was able to pick apart a banged up stop unit against the Dolphins and the Bills in the opening 2 playoff games, and maybe they have the same stroke of luck and they do the same thing against Baltimore. I don't think so, though. But looking at the Baltimore Ravens, though, they've ranked amongst the defensive elite all year, and they've topped the NFL with 60 sacks in the regular season, despite blitzing at the 8th lowest rate. And if that's not a testament to their pass coverage taking away opponents' first options and facing quarterbacks to need more time in the pocket to go through progressions, I don't know what is. But you should keep in mind something else, though. Speaking of key players on Kansas City, Joe Thuney is questionable for tomorrow afternoon's game with a pectoral injury. Whether or not he's cleared to play, or he's questionable or anything like that, I don't know. I don't think he's going to be playing tomorrow afternoon. But with that being said, the Kansas City Chiefs offense hasn't played up to their lofty standards in the 2023-2024 NFL season. But they seem to be getting their groove back at the best time. And all the times to finally get things going, what better opportunity than the AFC Championship game? No better time than that. But the Kansas City Chiefs scored 27 points against the Bills last weekend, and if it weren't for a goal line fumble in the second half, they would have probably scored more, but that's neither here or there. The Baltimore Ravens, on the other hand, they've allowed a league-low 5 yards per pass attempt while checking rival passers to a completion percentage of just about 60.5%. And Baltimore's been able to bottle up several good quarterbacks this season, with a lowest passer rating of 74.5 allowed. And they're taking on the best of the best tomorrow afternoon. Now, will Baltimore have that same stroke of luck against Kansas City? I don't know. I'm not a fortune teller or a psychic or have a magic 8-ball, so how will things pan out? I don't know. Only one way to find out. I can only get on here and give you my predictions, my thoughts, and a prediction as far as the final score goes, and see what happens from there. Speaking of the red zone offense, I had something here on my notes here, but I forgot all about it. Oh, there it was. Red zone offense. As far as Kansas City goes, that's going to be a little bit of an uphill challenge, and it's been a sore spot for them during their playoff run. Because the Chiefs they're 4 for 10 inside their opponent's 20-yard line in the last 2 games. And they converted for touchdowns on just over 50% of red zone possessions on the year. And they now face a Ravens red zone defense that allows touchdowns on only 41 or 40% of their attempts, which is the second lowest mark in the NFL. But Kansas City is going to need all the points they can in order to, considering the potential defensive gaps and the versatility of the Baltimore Ravens offense is going to be a key factor. But don't count out the Baltimore Ravens, even though they're the home team. Baltimore's bringing a lot to the table tomorrow. And as we all know, it starts with Lamar Jackson Jr. It ends with everyone else on the team, though. But, it's not just numbers 8, 89, 3, and on the defensive side, you got, with Marlon Humphrey, Patrick Queen, and Roquan Smith, former Chicago Bear Roquan Smith, I should say. As you all know, I'm a Chicago Bears fan, and I had to name drop Roquan there. But I'm glad where Roquan is at right now. For the first time for the first time since the 2018 season and the 2020 season when he was with the Bears. Roquan Smith finds himself in the postseason, but also for the first time in his career, making it past the first round, unlike the Bears in those last two seasons. The Bears in 2020 and the Bears in the 2018-2019 season. We made the postseason, we couldn't even make it past the first round. That's neither here or there, though. But yeah, the Montezuma Missile, as Jeff Joniak called him, and Agent Zero, that is what most Baltimore Ravens fans are calling him, because his jersey number is 0, so I guess it makes sense to call him that. But Agent Zero, the Montezuma Missile, whatever nickname you want to call him, take your pick. I'm glad for Roquan Smith. I'm glad that he's made it this far, and I'm curious to see how the tandem of Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen end up panning out against the Kansas City Chiefs offense. But anyway, going back to the Baltimore Ravens offense, the threat of a run from Lamar Jackson Jr. terrifies defensive coordinators. So, with the Baltimore Ravens, with them playing off of that fear with RPOs, that's set to find space in the passing game. Because remember, Patrick Mahomes Jr., he's no slouch either. He too can scramble and use his legs. That's what I like as far as this quarterback battle. Patrick Mahomes Jr. and Lamar Jackson Jr. both have the same things in common. They're as dangerous with their legs as they are with their arms. If they can't find someone to hand the ball off to and or throw it to, they'll just take it themselves and scramble for positive yardage. But overall, looking at this game, the Baltimore Ravens playbook is rooted in the running game. And no team in the NFL rushes at the rate of the Baltimore Ravens, which I think is 52.5%. And they pick up an average of about 5 yards or more per carry. And that ground game is going to open up options for Lamar Jackson Jr. to either throw and or take it in himself, and it keeps opposing pass rushes honest. But the Kansas City Chiefs blitz at the 7th highest rate, and they finished second to only Baltimore in terms of total sacks in the regular season with a total of 57. And that's saying something. But the Baltimore Ravens, on the other hand, their offensive line sits at I think it was 9th or 8th in pass block win rate on statistics website or page or whatever with ESPN. ESPN posted something about it. I saw something about it either this morning or sometime late last night. I don't remember where exactly it was that I found it, but while taking notes for this video, that was one of the things I wanted to copy and paste and make mention of. So, with leaving Lamar Jackson to field the 3rd lowest pressure rate, he's up to the challenge. But mainly because he rates out as the 2nd best quarterback when under pressure. At least seeing him under duress when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs, how he's going to perform against their defense. Number 8 fears no one, and he's going to be out to prove that, and at the same time, he's also going to hopefully change the ongoing Baltimore Ravens postseason picture narrative. Can the Baltimore Ravens finally go to the Super Bowl for the 2nd time in 11 years and dethrone the defending Super Bowl champions? Or will the Kansas City Chiefs find themselves going to the Super Bowl for the 2nd year in a row? I don't know, but one way or the other, we're all going to find out, and we're going to be in for a real roller coaster of a football game. I can tell you that. It's going to be a real roller coaster ride. Looking at the extended forecast just for my own curiosity, I looked earlier this morning, and I want to say there's rain in the forecast. Winds are going to be anywhere between 19 to 22 miles an hour early on, but they're going to calm by the time the second half rolls around. And game time temperatures are going to feel like somewhere in the mid-40s. So maybe the weather will be a factor in this game. I don't think so, but with that being said, the Baltimore Ravens defense versus the Kansas City Chiefs offense is one thing to look forward to. And then you got the Kansas City Chiefs defense versus the Baltimore Ravens offense. It's going to be a real sight to see. I can't wait to see it happen. But as far as the final score, this is going to be tough. I looked at a whole bunch of different predictions over the last couple of days, and I was just going to copy and paste the first one that I saw, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to think outside the box on this one. I think this one here is going to be it's going to be a high-scoring game. It's going to be close, and excuse me. Excuse me again. I think with this game it's going to be, as I said before, it's going to be a high-scoring game. But I have the Baltimore Ravens winning this one 30-27. And when I got my line for this game and the Detroit Lions San Francisco 49ers game, my point spread said that the Ravens were favorites at 3.5. I would be tempted to take Kansas City in the under, because should the Baltimore Ravens win, make it only by a score between 1 and 3, and you still win. If they end up winning by 4 points or more, I lose. But I'm not going to include the point spread as to why I said the final score was going to be what I say it is. So overall, in terms of my prediction, it's going to be close. It's going to be fun. And I have the Baltimore Ravens upsetting the Kansas City Chiefs and upsetting the vast majority of the world by doing the impossible and dethroning the defending Super Bowl champions. But what all happens remains to be seen. So let me know what you guys think about my prediction. If I don't get to a NFC championship game preview video, then I will definitely get to a prediction and previews video excuse me, going into the Super Bowl. So if I don't do one video, I will definitely do a video on the other topic. But like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. Give me your thoughts as far as the final score and what to look for as far as the game tomorrow afternoon, and may the best team win. So I will talk to you guys later. Hopefully you enjoy this game and or the NFC Championship game, if you're going to watch it, that is. And in another 2 more weeks or so, we get ready for the Super Bowl. So have yourselves a good night. Talk to you when I talk to you. And stay safe, be well, and that's about all I've got. So have yourselves a good one.